I want to ask you something. What is the primary goal of your marketing right now? And if your answer is somewhere in the neighborhood of keep my members happy, build loyalty, create community, reduce churn, this book, How to Build Your Brand, has something to say to you. And you're probably not going to like it. Sharp's team analyzed 880 entries into the IPA Effectiveness Awards. That is the most rigorous marketing effectiveness competition in the world. They looked at what separated the winners from everyone else. And what they found was this. Winners are far more likely to have set targets to increase market penetration. Not loyalty, not retention, not community, penetration. This is chapter 2 of the book, How Brands Grow. Let's get into it. So let's question what you think you know. Here are the conventional marketing moves for any CrossFit gym. You find your ideal member, you speak directly to them. You build deep loyalty with the people who are already in your gym so they become evangelists who refer their friends. And you focus on retention because it costs less to keep a member than it does to acquire a new one. That is what I've heard in the phrases when doing market research. If you do a great job, then the people will come. Again, that's what we've been told. That's what we've all heard. And that's what most gym marketing looks like. And on the surface, that does make intuitive sense. The problem is, it is not what the data says drives growth. Sharp tells us that penetration is the metric. And he defines penetration like this. Penetration is the metric that records how many people have bought the brand at least once in a particular time period. Not how many people follow you, not how many people like your posts, it's not how many people are loyal to you, it's how many people have actually bought from you at least once in a defined window of time. What the IPA data shows is across 888 real campaigns with real results, the brands that are growing the fastest are the ones that are acquiring new buyers, not the ones that are deepening their loyalty with existing ones. Because you cannot use loyalty to grow your brand. Loyalty is not a growth engine. It's a retention mechanism. And those two are completely different jobs. Retention keeps the boat from sinking, yes, but penetration is what moves the boat forward. Also in this chapter, Sharp goes over this concept of the double Jeopardy law. We will see this again in chapter 3. This is where he talks about a very important concept. What it is that small brands do not just have fewer customers than large brands. They also have less loyal customers. So they lose on both metrics simultaneously, and thus why it's called double jeopardy. Think about that, what that means for a small CrossFit gym in a competitive market. You have fewer members than the big gym across town. And the members you do have come less frequently, refer less often, and are more likely to leave. So you're bleeding from both ends at the same time. Saying that again, you have less evangelists who are talking about your brand and holding your fort down, and you're reaching less people because you're smaller. So you lose people on the fringes who may have drifted in, and you lose people in the core who may have drifted out. The instinct when you see that problem is to pour everything into making sure your loyal members stay loyal. You double down on community, you build the tribe, you create an inner circle that will never leave. But Sharp says that instinct is backwards because loyalty is a symptom of size, not the cause of size. You do not build a big brand by building deep loyalty first. You have to build deep loyalty by building a big brand first. And you build a big brand by growing your penetration, by getting more people to buy from you at least once. And here is the ceiling that Sharp puts on all of this. Even the largest, most dominant brands in any category rarely exceed 20% market penetration. And if there are 100 CrossFit gyms in your market and one CrossFit gym has captured 1 in every 5 athletes, it's a giant. That's a category leader. That's 20% penetration. Most gyms are operating at a fraction of that, which means the growth runway is enormous if you're focusing on the right metric. And when we talk about penetration, all of that starts with awareness. And this is why the awareness campaign in our structure is so important. If you recall our structure, we went over it back in phase 1. It's episode 3, where we walk through each step of the campaign. The first step is awareness. Then it's engagement, followed by traffic, retargeting, and then conversion. And that process builds the flywheel and momentum that you need to get people's attention, bring them into your business, and keep them there. So when we're talking about awareness, here's where Sharp's framework connects directly to how you are building your brand in real time. If penetration is the goal, getting more people to buy from you at least once, then a prerequisite for penetration is awareness. Because obviously, people can't buy from a brand that they've never heard of. Therefore, the awareness campaign is the most fundamental and important position or most important part of any campaign. The awareness campaign is not just the warm-up act before the real marketing begins. It is the foundational work that makes everything else in the campaign possible. We're going to think about the full campaign chain. If you want to know more about this, go back episode 3 of phase 1. Again, awareness, engagement, traffic, retargeting, conversion. Without awareness, the engagement campaign is just an idea log. People might follow you, they might share your content, they might think of you as an interesting thinker, but they don't see you as a company. And if they don't see you as a company, they're not going to buy from you. They'll take your ideas, but they're not going to be able to put your ideas into action because they don't know the company that you're stepping out with. Furthermore, without awareness, the traffic campaign is worse than ineffective. Without awareness, the traffic campaign is worse than ineffective. It's really damaging. A cold audience seeing a link from a brand that they have never heard of does not cause them to just ignore it. They start to distrust it. And if you're failing to convert, and you're probably building skepticism. And skepticism is harder to overcome than ignorance. Without the awareness campaign, the retargeting campaign is just shooting out strangers. The entire premise of retargeting is that you're going back to the people who have already made a meaningful interaction with your brand. If the awareness campaign did not do its job, then the retargeting pool is either too small or the people in your retargeting pool have no real context of who you are. And lastly, the conversion campaign. This is the glory. This is the one everybody wants. This is the one where you make the big sales, the last step. It stands on top of everything that came before it. By the time someone sees a conversion ad, the decision should already be 80% made. The conversion ad is the final nudge that someone who already knows you and trusts you and already sees you as legitimate is going to use to bring you money, right? So in order for that to work, you have to lay that foundation. And the first step in laying that foundation is a good awareness campaign. Most gym owners skip either straight to conversion or traffic. They run a discount ad or a free trial to a cold audience and then wonder why it doesn't convert. Sharp would say, of course, it does not work. It's not going to convert. You're asking people to buy from a brand that they have no mental availability for. You've not earned the right to ask it. Putting that a different way, that is, again, going straight for, hey, you want to go on a date with me, when you haven't introduced yourself to the person you're talking to yet? It doesn't make any sense. They don't know you from Adam. Introduce yourself in the awareness campaign. Tell them about yourself in the engagement campaign. Then start to feedback from them in the traffic campaign. Once you get to that spot, then you can make the conversion. The awareness campaign, that introduction, is the foundation of your success. Lastly, Sharp brings up this concept of mental availability and physical availability. These two concepts complete the picture. I want you to think of mental availability like this. Does your brand come to mind when someone in your market researches a buying moment? Do they come to mind when a person decides they want to try CrossFit? Is your gym the one of the names that they think of? So if you have good mental availability and they think, ooh, I want to try CrossFit, are they thinking of you or are they thinking of someone else? And then physical ability. Think of this as answering this question. When the person is ready to buy, can they find you easily and act on that impulse to buy without friction? And if they can, then you have good physical ability. It's not enough for people to just know that you exist. They also need to be able to find you easily when they are ready. For a CrossFit gym, that means having your website clean. Your Google listing should be accurate. Your onboarding process should be frictionless. And you can absolutely win the awareness battle and they know who you are, and lose the conversion battle because someone cannot figure out how to book a class or a discovery call or anything. You need both parts. Mental availability gets them to the door. The physical availability gets them through the door. So I want you to think about all of this. This is very important as we talk about how we reach people within your market. I have talked to gym owner after gym owner who just leans into this concept of, if I work hard, if I do a great job, then the athletes will come to me. And I will tell you that never works, just flat out. They may look like Tia Clara Toomey, but unless they're out there telling people about your brand's not going to grow. You're going to always do better by reaching people who are interested, that cold audience, and warming them up to the point where they're ready to convert, than for you to just try to make the people who are already converting more. And those are two very different mindsets. In the STP mindset, which is the same one that emphasizes loyalty, you target a very specific person and try to build the ecosystem around them. But as any gym owner knows, the margins on owning a gym tend not to be very big. And they tend not to be very big because they are so focused on one specific type of person. I've done CrossFit for years. And let me tell you something. The people who are hardcore into CrossFit are a very specific type of person. That's not everybody. That's not even most people. That's not even the audience that CrossFit recommends that you apply yourself to. Very specific person. And you can put a lot of emphasis on that person and never move the brand needle forward. Or you can take Sharp's method and try to spread the net as wide as possible. And by doing so, you can bring in many people who all convert into your gym. Maybe they're just trying it and they turn out they love it. Maybe they're people who don't really know anything about fitness and need instruction. Maybe they're an older crowd who needs help. Maybe there's someone who's just not structured, who needs some sort of class structure in order to commit to getting results. You need to think about all of those people and how do you catch all of those people. And according to Sharp, the best way to do so is to cast that wide net. And the first step of casting that wide net is to make sure that they know who you are. And that's done through an awareness campaign. Shameless plug, that's what we do. And we work the algorithms and the tools in order to make sure that everybody in your area knows who you are. Because if they don't know you, they're not going to trust you. If they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. You see how this is a process? And all of too often, I see gym owners, and then when I say all of too often, it's like, this is what you probably are doing. You, as the gym owner or the coach, take pictures or videos of your athletes doing amazing things and post it. That's awesome, right? But you're posting it right back into that same community. Do you see how you're reinforcing loyalty as opposed to getting new people? And then you sit there at the end of the day wondering why more people haven't come to your gym. You haven't reached out to more people. Putting it bluntly, they don't know you. If they don't know you, you will not grow. We need to get people to know you. And we'll talk more about that later, probably in a different episode. Understand that loyalty is not the goal. Penetration is the goal when it comes to terms of growing your brand. If you're talking about establishing your culture, loyalty is 100%. If you're talking about building your brand so you make more money, so you can make a better gym, penetration is your goal. Reach really is the goal. You need more people when you reach. Just reaching them is not enough though. You want to convert those people to buyers. And that takes a lot more work. And when you get to the reach, we need to funnel them down into buyers. And that's something that we can discuss at Enoch Marketing. If you want to build a strategy call, give us a call below. You can always reach us at Enoch Marketing. Leave a comment, subscribe, share. Send us a message. And I want to just emphasize one more time. We need bigger market shares. People need to know your name because you're probably an excellent coach who does excellent work and has already built an excellent community, and people don't know you. And if people don't know you, you're actually robbing them of the opportunity of getting better. So if you want to do something about it, give us a call, Enoch Marketing. That was chapter 2. Subscribe below so you don't miss chapter 3. And if you're ready to build a campaign that actually follows the data, come give us a call. Until then, I'm Colin. This is Enoch Marketing, and we'll talk to you soon.